What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel, the Shaa'Vaee J Show. So today I am going to be adding a segment to my channel, which is going to be called Take It Back Thursday. So what that will consist of is every Thursday I'm going to try my absolute best to give you a review on one of my favorite episodes of one of my favorite television shows from the 90s to the early 2000s. So today I am going to be giving my review on one of my favorite episodes of A Different World. That is one of my favorite shows. I love that show. So I'm going to give my review on season 5, episode 19, and the episode was called Conflict of Interest. So the reason why this show is one of my favorites is because it's just so much tea, and the ongoing relationship between and it's not even ongoing, it's like on and off again relationship between Whitley and Dwayne is just always amusing. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so this episode kicks off with Dwayne waking up in Whitley's apartment. They are getting ready to have breakfast, and Dwayne spent the night. So they basically had a one night. I don't know if you would consider it a one night stand because they didn't both, like, they've had sex before, but this is considered a one night. I would consider it a one night stand just because at this point in the show, Whitley is dating Byron, the politician. But the gag is that Byron, Dwayne, and Whitley all kind of work together to help promote Byron's campaign. That's messy. But anyway, so Dwayne and Whitley wake up, and it's kind of like they give off the vibe that they've completely forgot that they're really not together, and Whitley forgets that Byron even exists until she gets a knock on the door, and it is Byron. And it's not just a knock on the door like, hey sweetie, hey it's me. It's like Byron like knocking on the door trying to get in because he has something to tell Whitley. So Whitley's frantic, and she's looking at Dwayne like, Dwayne, you need to get up, go in the room, find somewhere to hide because Byron cannot see you. So Dwayne is kind of being petty like, oh well, I guess he got company, so I'm just gonna sit here. Not really moving as fast as Whitley wants him to. So he's just basically playing around with her, and she's like, no, I'm serious. And he sees that she's serious about it, and he sees how frantic she's becoming. So I think it kind of hurts his feelings a little bit. So he's like, you know what? Okay, let me just go. So Dwayne puts on the little pink. He got a little pink robe on, and he goes into Whitley's room. So when he finally opens the door for Byron, Byron comes in. And ironically, Byron has something to share with Whitley. So he has a newspaper in his hand, and comes to find out, he saw his ex at a fundraiser, and they took a photo together, and then lo and behold, it ends up on the cover of a newspaper. So Byron's freaking out because he thinks that Whitley saw the newspaper, which Whitley has not. So when Byron comes in to try to explain himself and shows Whitley the paper, Whitley has to obviously play along with it, like, oh, okay, well, who's that? But little does Byron know that Whitley has a secret of her own. So Whitley, being the diva that she is, she gets out of this cram, and Byron finally leaves the house. So Dwayne comes out, and he just seems very, like, his mood shifts from the time when Byron first knocked on the door and Dwayne was playing around with Whitley, kind of like, well, I don't know, like, he was just giving off like, well, I don't care, like, you with me, like, I'm the one that hit it last night. So his mood kind of changes after he realizes, like, okay, Whitley really has a boyfriend. This is like, we're really not together. This is, it's kind of it. So he walks out the room, and he's pretty upset. So fast forward into the episode. Dwayne talks to Ron and tells Ron about what happened between him and Whitley. And Ron basically says to Dwayne, listen, you're still in love with her. So, and I don't know why Dwayne is acting like he's surprised, but him and Whitley are both just in denial. They're both in love with each other, as we can see at the end of the show, the entire show. We realize that they get married and they are expecting. But at this point, they're kind of very in denial. So, the thing about Whitley and Dwayne is that, okay, let me just keep going. Okay, so Dwayne and Whitley, because they work with Byron, they wind up meeting up at the campaign site. And they have this conversation about what happened last night. So Whitley describes that experience as disgusting. So Dwayne is taken aback, like, okay, you describe it as disgusting. So I guess he feels like he has to defend himself, so he makes it seem like he didn't enjoy himself either. And he's just like, you know what, it's wrong, it is what it is, let's just move forward. And he lets Whitley know, like, okay, it was never like, our sex was never an issue. It's all of the other things that we can't work out with our relationship. So tension is between Whitley and Dwayne, and Byron can see it. So Byron presses Dwayne, and he's like, okay, so what's going on? So Dwayne, being his honest self, he's just like, you know what, whatever happened last night was not supposed to happen. And obviously Byron did not know because Whitley did not tell Byron. So Dwayne is just like, you know, it just shouldn't have happened, and you bring out the best in her. And, you know, I'm just kind of like pulling her back, so I can tell she really likes you, so I'm gonna just leave y'all be. So the episode ends with Whitley finally coming clean to Byron, and then they have a conversation. She tells Byron how much she loves him and that she's not in love with Dwayne, although she really is. And so the newspaper article that Byron showed Whitley earlier of Byron and his ex-girlfriend at the fundraiser, Whitley rips it up, and she's like, you know, now I'm here, ain't nobody stepping in my way, and Dwayne's not coming between me and you, nobody's coming in between us, it's us against the world type of thing. Whatever, we all know that that was an absolute lie. So, now you also have Kim and Ron, who are dating in this episode, and basically Kim goes on a date with Ron. So the episode before, Kim and Ron go on a date, and during their date, they encounter a lot of Ron's exes at the same restaurant. So it was almost as if every girl that passed by, Ron had sex with, Ron dealt with, Ron had some type of love affair with. Even the woman who owned the restaurant, Ron was dealing with her too. I forgot her name, but her name was something crazy. So Kim is just stressed because Kim really likes Ron, and she really wants to give him the benefit of the doubt, but he just keeps playing these little kid games that Kim is just over at this point, and she really wants to have faith in him and believe that he can change for her and be the guy that she needs. So here come Mr. Gaines. So obviously, they're having this conversation. So you know, a lot of times in a different world, most of the scenes or the prominent scenes or the scenes that you remember take place in the cafe where Mr. Gaines works. Kim worked there a few times. I know Whitley was busting tables once. So they're having this conversation in the cafe, and Mr. Gaines, nosy, always in somebody's damn business, comes over to Kim, and he says to her, you know, after Ron walks away, he's like, you're better off getting a real dog, because at least the dog will be loyal. You're basically saying that Ron is a dog and he's not going to be loyal. So now Kim is just like, I don't know what to do. So then Ron is, and what she doesn't know is that Ron feels the same way. So Ron knows that he effed up. So he's talking to Dwayne about it too, like, oh my God, I messed up. I don't know what to do to make Kim see that I'm really a good guy. So he goes to Kim and he's just like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. Actions speak louder than words, so let me show you. So Kim's like, okay buddy, show me what you got. So that's Kim and Ron. Then you got Freddie and Shaa'Vaee, who is just, it's like every time you see them, it makes you want to throw up because they're just so lovey-dovey, lovey-dovey. Freddie loves calling him, yes, daddy, yes, daddy. I love Freddie because she's so funny, she's so quirky, but she's smart as hell. So, Shaa'Vaee and Freddie are went to a spiritual retreat, and at the spiritual retreat, they learn to just tell the truth no matter how much it might hurt or how much you might make the person feel bad. Just own your truth and say how you feel. So the two of them are bickering back and forth because Shaa'Vaee tells Freddie that she's just too earthy. Freddie goes to Ron and says, I don't like you, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. But if you watched the entire show, you later learned that Freddie and Ron actually become a thing. So, anyway, so she goes on they go on a spiritual retreat and they learn to tell the truth about, you know, things that just make them feel uncomfortable or just whatever they feel they need to get off their chest. Which is also ironic in the show because Whitley has something that she needs to get off her chest. So does Dwayne about being in love with Whitney, but he doesn't want to tell Whitley because he feels like Whitley doesn't feel the same. And then I know Whitley is really in love with Dwayne, but she feels like Dwayne is just not the man for her because Dwayne can't really provide for Whitley the way she wants him to, and then she still feels like Dwayne is just a little boy and he doesn't want to marry her and all of this other stuff. So that's pretty much what happened. Also too, Lance and Charmaine visit Hillman. So for those of you who watch The Cosby Show, you know that Charmaine and Lance are cast members of the show. So A Different World is a spin-off of The Cosby Show. The first 2 seasons, Denise was the main character in A Different World because she was in college. So there's several episodes when Claire and Cliff, Rudy, Vanessa, they come visit, and even Theo, they come visit Hillman. So those shows are pretty connected. So Charmaine and Lance visit Hillman. Charmaine stays with Whitley, and if you know Charmaine from The Cosby Show, you know Charmaine is a motor mouth. So Charmaine is just driving. And then another thing about Charmaine too is that although she is a motor mouth, she's very smart, but she just is too much. It's just too much. So Charmaine's with Whitley, is paired with Whitley, and Lance is paired with Dwayne. So Lance being in college, so technically Lance has not been accepted. So Charmaine has been accepted into Hillman, but Lance has not been. So Lance thinks that because he has a letter of recommendation from Dr. Huxtable, that he's going to get into Hillman. However, Colonel Taylor shuts him down, and he's like, no, that's not how it works. You don't just come in with a letter of recommendation because the line to be admitted into Hillman is long, and you're not going to cut it because you have this letter of recommendation. So Lance starts looking around at the girls in Hillman, and of course he takes interest in Lena, who is played by no one other than Jada Pinkett. And if you have not watched A Different World, Jada Pinkett plays Lena's role so well. I feel like that's what a lot of people fell in love with Jada Pinkett. So Lance is trying to get with Lance is trying to get with Lena. Charmaine's not having it. Lena's like, listen, I'm class of 95, you class of 96. We are not in the same bracket. Boy, bye. That's the kind of vibe she's getting. So moving along, that's pretty much sums up that episode. I'm going to do another review on the show A Different World, and I'm definitely going to review the episode when Byron and Whitley are at the altar and Dwayne steps in and he is like, Whitley, I love you, baby. Whitney, please. Baby, please. And she's like, I do. And then her mother was just like, just die. So I'm gonna review that another time. But stay tuned for next week to see which episode, which show I review next. I'm thinking of something. I don't know if I want to go back and forth between 90s and 2000s, but just stay tuned to see which episode and which show I review next from the 90s, early 2000s. If you have any requests, comment below. I am a 90s baby, so I know about all the sitcoms, all the 90s black television shows. Right now, A Different World is on Spectrum on demand, but they don't have all of the episodes. They just have like a select few. So if you want to watch a couple of episodes just to see what the hype is about, check it out on spectrum.com. They definitely have it on demand. I'm not sure if they have it on Hulu. I know at a point they did have it on Hulu. I'm not sure if they have it anymore. So if you haven't already done so, be sure to like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and comment on this video and let me know your thoughts. Do you remember this episode? Is there a specific episode of A Different World you want me to talk about? Let's get into it. Let's talk about 90s TV shows, early 2000 TV shows, because to me those were the best shows ever. So I will see you all next time. Thank you for tuning in again. Bye y'all.